The Las Vegas Raiders have just made a bold move. They've drafted a quarterback in the third round. And trust me, there's a lot to be excited about here. I dove deep into this guy's game tape. And honestly, huge potential. Seriously, huge. Let's talk about him. Darien Porter. Now, to be real with you, before this past season, Porter wasn't making a lot of noise. He was more of a backup at Iowa State, not a guy who dominated the field. In fact, before this year, he averaged only about 120 snaps per season, not starter material by any means. But then, something clicked. In his final college season, Porter exploded onto the scene. He wasn't perfect, not some unstoppable force, but he showed flashes. Flashes that make scouts and coaches dream. And when it came time for the athletic testing, Porter turned heads. Big time. See, at cornerback, raw athleticism often matters even more than college stats. Coaches know they can teach technique, be aware, but they can't teach speed, size, or instinct. That's why someone like Darien Porter is so exciting. Guys like Bill Belichick have made a career out of finding athletic corners late in the draft and turning them into stars. And Porter? He's the perfect fit for what the Las Vegas Raiders are trying to build, especially under a Pete Carroll-style system. Remember the Legion of Boom? Those tall, fast, aggressive defenders that dominated games? That's the mold Porter fits into. He's 6 feet 3.5 inches tall, weighs 195 pounds, and he blazed a 4.34-second 40-yard dash with an insane 1.49-second 10-yard split. That kind of explosiveness is rare. In fact, he ranked as the second most athletic cornerback in this entire draft class. Sure, his college production wasn't jaw-dropping, but when you look at his size, speed, and raw tools, the upside is through the roof. The Raiders might have just found themselves a hidden gem. Sure, Darien Porter ranked 18th among corners in this draft class. But when you look at his athletic score, it's a whole different story. Someone even joked that Porter could be the Darius Hayward Bay of this draft class, and honestly, that's not far off. It's an interesting comparison because, just like Hayward Bay, Porter has elite speed but still needs to develop the full package. Now, don't get me wrong. I really like Darien Porter. I'm telling you now, this guy's potential is massive. But, and it's a big but, he'll need the right coaching. If he lands in the right system with patient coaching, he could become a star. If not, well, there's always a risk. Compare that to other rookies like Ashton Jeanty and Jack Bech, guys who are expected to be day one starters for the Raiders. Their skill sets are more polished coming into the league. Jack Bech especially, even though some fans aren't totally sold on him yet, has huge upside. I truly believe his game will translate well to the NFL. But Darien Porter is a little different. He's a high-ceiling, high-risk kind of player. If he develops properly, he could be one of the best corners in the NFL. If not, there's a chance he might not stick around long. And that's just being real, and because athletic prospects don't always pan out, no matter how fast they run or how tall they are. Speaking of athleticism, get this. Porter posted a 9.9 relative athletic score, RAS, out of 10. That's elite. In fact, according to Kent Lee Platt, that ranks him 5th out of 2,700 cornerbacks going all the way back to 1987. That's crazy rare. In measurements, he stood 6 feet 2 and 7/8 inches. Basically just a hair shy of 6 feet 3 inches. Tall, fast, and built like a prototype corner. And beyond the numbers, on film you can see the potential. Flashes of elite coverage ability, raw instincts, and the ability to recover quickly if beaten. But again, scheme fit will be everything for him. It's no accident the Raiders seem to be shifting their defensive identity. They're moving away from players like Jack Jones, who was more of a man-to-man guy but struggled with tackling, an essential skill in zone coverage. Same story with Trayvon Murig, who thrived playing slot corner in college but hasn't fully found his place yet in the Raiders' defense. Recently, the Raiders have started building a different kind of secondary. Jeremy Chin, 6 feet 3.5 inches. Isaiah Polamau, 6 feet 3.5 inches. Now Darien Porter, almost 6 feet 3 inches. Big, fast, physical defenders who fit perfectly into a cover 3 zone system. Tall, long athletes who can fly to the ball and bring the hit when needed. The Raiders aren't just drafting players, They're building an identity. When you look at what the Raiders are doing, you can see it clearly. They're getting bigger in the secondary. Eric Stokes is 6 feet 2 inches. Now you add guys like Darien Porter, almost 6'3", and it's obvious. The Raiders are building a zone coverage defense. And honestly, it makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the last season for Patrick Graham as the defensive coordinator. It feels like the Raiders are slowly shifting towards a Pete Carroll-style system. Tall, athletic corners playing smart, physical zone defense. This is no longer Patrick Graham's defense. This looks more and more like the Seattle Seahawks blueprint under Carroll. Now back to Darien Porter. Let me say it again. Potential, potential, potential. The tools are there, the size, the athleticism, the flashes on tape. But he still has to prove it on the field. Nothing is given in the NFL. For the Raiders, though, it's a smart move. They've been investing heavily at cornerback over the past 3 drafts. Cameron Richardson, a 4th-rounder last year, Jacorian Bennett, a 3rd-rounder the year before, and now Darien Porter, another 3rd-round pick this year. It's a clear plan. Young, talented corners developing together. And honestly, we already saw some real growth from Jacorian Bennett last year. At times, he looked like a top 10 corner. If Cameron Richardson can take a similar leap this season, and if Darien Porter can follow their path, even if it takes a year, the Raiders' secondary could become scary good. Now, here's a quick story about how Darien Porter first caught my attention. I wasn't even scouting him at first. I was assigned to watch Kobe Hudson, a talented wide receiver from UCF, during the Hula Bowl prep. Hudson's a solid player, one of the top 15 wide receivers coming out this year, so expectations were high. But when I turned on the tape, Darien Porter stole the show. Hudson couldn't get any separation against him. Porter locked him down completely. And that's when I realized this kid has something special. At the time, I didn't know where Porter would even get drafted. I honestly didn't expect the Raiders to pick him. But after that game, and after watching a couple more of his games, including a strong performance against Iowa this past season, it's easy to see why the Raiders took a chance on him. Darien Porter really started flashing around week 2 or week 3 last season. He had another strong game against Houston, too. Now he's definitely a streaky player, up and down at times. But the potential is obvious. Last year was big for him. 3 interceptions, the most he's had in a season. And it's not just luck. He was playing in a new system, a system that allowed him to sit back in zone coverage more than ever before. And here's the important part. When it comes to zone coverage, Porter is elite. According to Pro Football Focus, he earned a 91.1 grade in zone coverage last season. That's top level, one of the best in college football. Man coverage, not nearly as strong. He graded out at 63.5, which is honestly pretty low. But that's okay, because the Raiders are clearly building a zone-heavy defense. And Porter fits that style perfectly. Now, stepping back for a second, coming into the draft, I knew the Raiders had to grab a cornerback. I really wanted Will Johnson, but unfortunately, he went off the board at pick 57. The Raiders were sitting at pick 58. They missed out. They probably didn't feel great about it either, but they stayed patient and later landed Darien Porter, a guy full of upside. And if you look at the secondary now, it's starting to come together. Jacorian Bennett. Tons of upside. Some believe he could become a top 10 corner. Cameron Richardson. Still developing, but showing flashes. Darien Porter. Elite zone skills. If the Raiders scheme it right, and remember, Patrick Graham is known for his smart schemes, and Pete Carroll has built some legendary secondaries, then you can really mold these young corners into a serious unit. And don't forget, Eric Stokes, 4 years of NFL experience, now kind of a veteran. Sam Webb and others, still in the building, fighting for spots. I'm honestly excited about this group. And here's what's coming next. I'll be doing a full film breakdown soon on both Darien Porter and Jack Bech. Unfortunately, I didn't get into Ashton Jeanty's film yet, but honestly, his highlights speak for themselves. The guy's a different type of running back. But yeah, Porter, he's the one I'm really pumped to dive into. Hopefully tomorrow morning, I'll be dropping a full Porter breakdown. In the meantime, let me know. What do you guys think about Darien Porter? Huge upside, man. I'm going to keep saying it. Huge upside. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another breakdown.